When did you come to Denmark and why did you come to Denmark?
I think I don't believe in destiny that much, but I think it was a destiny that I end up here in Denmark. I moved from a student life in a day to the adult life, I would call it.
How much were you making if you should relate to back in 2017, 18?
Per month before tax. I'm a bridge between the IT people and non-IT people. And there is a gap here. The language that each side speaks is different. So I help IT people to understand what is the non-IT people's request.
You lost your job unfortunately because of COVID. What was your motivation behind here? Of course, you have some personal reasons, right? You don't want to go and try other countries. Why you want to settle in Denmark?
I love this country. The work-life balance is so good, so cool here. I would like to say that I'm very bad at dates, not those type of dates.
Mosi, thank you so much for being part of my podcast. It means a lot for me, and let's get started.
Yeah, pleasure is mine. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, we are colleagues in a company. I know you through professional means, but I would like to also use this opportunity to get to know you, who you are as a person, but also your journey, the common journey that we both have as internationals living in Denmark. So let's start with that. When did you come to Denmark and why did you come to Denmark?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I would like to say that I'm very bad at dates, not those type of dates. The numbers of the months or years. I think it was 2016, but don't take it for granted. This year, I forgot when was my birthday.
2016, you came to Denmark.
Yes.
Okay, and for what reason, if I should?
Yeah, sure. I was studying a PhD in Barcelona in Spain. Then I came to Denmark to present something at University of Odense, SDU. And then on my way back, I've met one of my old classmates from university. And yeah, she introduced me a schema for the visa called Green Card. And then I said, oh, that's a very nice opportunity. I went back, and then throughout the news, I realized it was, the government decided to stop that program, and I only have 7 days. So, and then my passport got lost in the post of Spain, and in order to apply for a visa, you need a passport. But I just applied for a visa without the passport because I read that I can update my documents later on, and then that's how everything happened, and I'm here. So
that was a tough journey, actually.
Yeah, at the moment it was tough, but right now when I'm thinking about it, it's something I can tell people that that's what I did, and it was. I think I don't believe in destiny that much, but I think it was a destiny that I end up here in Denmark to find a job and then live life.
So you said about green card. It was a scheme, I believe, for job seekers.
Yes.
And so this happened around 2016, 17, and I think for some reason they closed. I think Denmark closed gates for job seeking visa, as I believe. Good. So now that you have arrived in Denmark, you found let's say a visa to stay. What next? What did you do from that point?
Yeah, I started to work on general jobs. They call it Vika, because I need to survive. I moved from a student life in a day to the adult life, I would call it. So what to do? Whatever comes. I worked as a picker in Netto, in the warehouse. I work as a food delivery guy in one of the companies, Wolt. I work in a Domino's Pizza as a store manager and a pizza maker. That was like the first 1, 2, 3 years. Then I'm a people person, you know that. So, and in one of the occasions, I had an elevator pitch to the people to tell, hey, I am this, I'm looking for jobs, and this is not going to be my job for the rest of my life. So I found a guy and I pitched that. It was a Danish design company. So that gentleman hired me and I worked there for 2.5 years, 2 years, something like that. I'm bad with dates, as I mentioned. So, and yeah, that's at least the first half of my life in Denmark.
But didn't you ever felt that you had a PhD and it's PhD is something that not a lot of people get to choose. It takes a lot of effort, quite, I would say, invested in education. How much were you making if you should relate to back in 2017, 18? Of course, you need to earn to make the ends meet, but it could also be to eye opener for people watching this or listening to this podcast to say a vicar job, how much can it pay for someone who chooses vicar jobs? What could be the range?
First of all, I have a half PhD, I would call it. So I quit the PhD and then I moved to Denmark because I found this opportunity much bigger than going toward the other route to finish the PhD and go to academia. Yeah, the Vika, I think it was a seasonal job. So they call you a day before. So tomorrow you have a job. It was, I think, 105 crowns per hour, something like that. So but if you were full time, it was 18,000 per month before tax.
And these jobs comes with some level of qualification, isn't it? Or do they have like no qualification? So basically, without any proper education, they could still choose to have vicar jobs, but they have to communicate, I suppose, English.
Yeah, because they call you, hey, tomorrow you have this job, or sometimes they send you a text. But a lot when you work in a Vika job, you'll see a lot of other people who are coming through the same company to do the same job, and some of them didn't have the qualification, the language qualification, and the language was not really needed for those jobs.
Did you ever feel like moving from your country and then finding an opportunity in Denmark which doesn't really match with your career profile? What did you feel like? Of course, there could be a lot of mood changes, but walk us through on the journey. What was going through your mind at that point of the?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good question, by the way, and I thought about it quite a lot at that time, not anymore. This thing is in the past. Yeah. Yeah, I thought that I had a good job in Iran, and then I'm having I have two masters now and a half PhD, and then I shouldn't work as a vicar person. At one point, I thought, hey, enough is enough. You need to go back and live a life there. But then I was talking to a person at that time, and he told me just, okay, just go back.
Mm.
And that's okay, just go back, trigger something that, no, you're not the person to tell me that I need to go back, I'm better than this. So I stay and I survive. And that's what happened. So that phrase turned something on in my head that I want to stay because.
So that triggered something that you wanted to like, okay, this is what I need to challenge.
Yeah.
A notion.
Yeah, correct. But it was tough, I remember I was buying a pack of 3 pizzas from Bilka at that time, which was the cheapest thing you can buy. And then I had pizza for, I don't know, a week in row or something like that, because that was cheap, and I wanted to survive. But when I'm thinking back, I need to mention that I'm kind of proud of myself, that I survived that occasion and situation. And then nowadays, when I'm talking to people who are looking for jobs, I said, hey, go and do something. There is always something to be done. And don't be ashamed that you are working in X, Y, or Z sectors, which is not fits your qualifications. Just go bring the food to the table, and then you don't know what's going to happen next. And I'm sure that if you are seeking some goals in your life, something good is gonna happen.
Mm. But that could be quite a journey. I couldn't even imagine if I were in that situation, would I be able to take that decision? I have been in a similar situation, but not like going to vicar jobs. But I assume that I was trying to transition from my back then job to a new job, and I was like super afraid. Like I said, what if I don't get a job? I'm going to go back to India, and I don't want to because I was in a really comfortable position. I'm looking for an alternative position, and I was applying outside, and it was mostly like super crazy period that I could even today felt like I don't want to go into that emotion, but I guess it was the lowest point when I applied. But it is inspiring looking from your story and hearing to you tell that now you are rocking in terms of technology, and you have, I would say, a lead role in IT, in data, and a lot of stuff that is happening. So walk us through on what you do currently within the top most company that you're working for.
Yeah, right now, that's the question that I always struggle to answer. What I do, if I want to frame it in a way, I help non-IT people to have an easier work situation or work task. So facilitate something that they are doing on the regular basis, to not do it on regular basis, and then automate that.
So if I understood,
I explain it in the worst way possible, I think. Let's just start from the beginning. Yeah. So I'm a bridge between the IT people and non-IT people.
okay,
And there is a gap here. The language that each side speaks is different. So I help IT people to understand what is the non-IT people's requests.
and these non-IT peoples, when you mean they are, let's say, managers, line managers, or who are
Managers,
these
line
non-IT people?
managers, mechanical engineers, QAs, you name it, whoever wants to digitalize something.
But
Me and
don't
my
know
team.
the IT side of it, or
Yeah.
Got it. So you become the bridge, and so what do you basically do bridging? What does it involve? What kind of responsibilities you are holding?
Yeah, right now I'm the lead data analyst in the company. So I think tech lead or IT project manager is something that can explain my role. So the tech lead is we have right now a 5 or 6 junior analysts who are awesome, I have to say. And then I walk them through their career journey as well, how they can develop in their career, what do they need to do, what courses they need to take, what conferences they need to go, and so on and so forth. And also going to the line of business, to the non-IT people, and then trying to understand how they work, and then figure out where is the place that they are doing some manual tasks. So make it as a project, bring it to the team, specify it sometimes not, and then give it to the people.
So you kind of help people automate boring stuffs, and it's interesting. Now you have like let's say from an odd job to somewhere niche in a tech job. The transition is not, I would say, walk in the park or straightforward. It comes with a roller coaster ride or challenges. So how many jobs did you shift before you came up to this role, or what was your journey with basically moving from that job, from that odd job to what you're doing right now?
Yeah,
And how long was it?
yeah. I think 3.5 years ago. I need to mention something. in the COVID time, I get unemployed.
Okay, during 2020.
Yeah, I get unemployed, and then I found an opportunity to think what I'm gonna do. So I learned how to code back in that 1 year, 2 months.
So that was when you actually started learning coding. So before 2020, you were not familiar with programming language.
Not
Hmm.
not that much.
Not to the level that you are in right now.
Yeah. I knew how to code,
Mm.
but not like that. So I took a full stack Python course, and then applied for the different roles, and I learned Tableau at the time, which is a visualization tool. And then I applied, and then throughout my network, and network is important, I found an opportunity, applied for it. The manager told me that I had the first interview. The manager told me that, I don't think this role fits you, but in 3 or 4 months, I'm going to open up a new position, and I think you're going to fit that role better. And he was right. And that's when my first corporate role started. And then from there, I just
Scaled up this
responsibilities. I won 3 awards in the first year in my first role. Yeah.
What is it award?
Yeah, there was a process of nominating one project per month in each area, and so it was 12 in our area. 12 projects could get nominated, and 1/4 of those was mine.
Okay.
Yeah, among 300 people, I think, at the time were working in that area, in that department.
But it means a lot, like from learning how to code, and then at some point you started figuring out how to also find a job, and then they ended up getting some awards. I'm more interested in so now that you are in an established organization, and then there's also another topic which most people are really afraid of talking about is integrating into the country. Because one thing that I really feel personally people struggle with is getting to know the rules to get a let's say permanent residency, getting to know what is important when you start thinking of to settle in Denmark. Of course we can have a job as long as we wish to, but there's also an element of getting permanent residency, which a lot of people, especially non-Europeans, consider as a milestone. So have you ever thought about at some point I need a PR, or you just said I'm going to work as long as I can and then I leave? What was your mood back then?
No, I'm always saying that if there is an option to get something that can boost you as a person and your career, just take it, whatever it comes. So yeah, it doesn't harm to have a permanent residency, and if you are qualified to get a permanent residency, why not?
Was it walk in the park for you to get a PR?
I'm not still having a PR. I just applied recently. I'll get it probably a few months from now. The COVID part hits me. I was 8 months. I was close. I mean, I needed 8 more months to get the permanent residency at that time. But then the COVID hits, and the PR rule is if you are unemployed for more than 6 months, everything gets restarted.
I want to get to know more about that role, because a lot of people don't know that they have to have 4 years of continuous employment when applying for permanent residency. And if for some reason, like let's say in your situation, you lost your job unfortunately because of COVID, and then you had like 6 months, you said, do they even consider the pandemic situation as an excuse? No. Okay.
That was not the case. I recommend everybody to go and check the New in Denmark website. Everything is there, basically. You just need to read. These days with ChatGPT, even don't need to read. Just put the URL there, and it's gonna come. There is two paths. One is if you apply for in 4.5 years, and the other one is if you apply in 8 years. So for the 4.5 years, you need to be employed for 4 years in row, and for the 8 years, you need to be employed for 3.5 years in row. So yeah, did I answer your question?
Yeah. So you at least you covered a point where there is rules, but personally for getting a PR, what was your motivation behind PR? Of course, you have some personal reasons, right? You don't want to go and try other countries. Why you want to settle in Denmark?
I love this country. Yeah, the work-life balance is so good, so cool here. I lived in 4 different countries so far, and yeah, by far, Denmark is the best country I believe in. I mean, all these statistics and numbers are also coming. Happiest people, second happiest people in the world. Top 10 best country for living. Copenhagen is the second best city to live in, and so on. There's a reason for it. I mean, of course, the weather is the worst one. But other than that, I think sometimes we are doing this luxury complaining, I would say, or luxury nagging. I don't. I at least I tried not to do it. And yeah, I love everything about this country except the weather.
Except the weather. Yeah. I have the same concerns with the weather. I think we touched upon pretty much your journey from, let's say, moving from Barcelona to finding the car jobs, and then moving to a tech job in a leadership role and leading teams and also motivating people and also bridging a lot of stuff. Let's get on to something fun about you. I of course read your introduction. You are a person who speaks 4.5 languages, to be precise.
Yes, correct.
Guide me through what was the 1.5 all about out of 4.5.
Sure. English and my mother tongue, Persian. These are 2. I leave words. Okay, I have X, I have Y, I have Z, and that's the place that just shine in, you know. And the first interaction with your CV is gonna be that part.
So let's say if I apply for a job, I have to also write my email address, my contact number, of course, my whatever it is.
The LinkedIn, don't put a link. Just write the whole LinkedIn
URL. Copy paste.
Yes, because sometimes people print that, and it's not clickable when you print it. Yeah.
Okay, so they actually print and look at it. Okay, then it's
depends. I mean, it depends, but you never know who's going to be the hiring manager. And
but what about images? Can we have my image, a photo?
Yeah, go through the job ads. If they didn't mention anything, put it there. If they mention that we are not going to do it, but do that. Personally, if a CV has a picture, I don't take a look at it because I realize that person never read the whole job ad. So that is not the type of person I'm going to hire.
Okay. Yeah. Very interesting. So you said the first half, the top half, has to be precise, to the point for the job. Listing my accomplishments in a company, is it appealing or is it boasting? So, like I have a tendency to say, I did this, I won this, I've been a star employee. Is it considered as accomplishments or is it tried to be considered as boasting? Many organizations differs.
Did you win an award for what you did? So that was your job. Yeah. So if you mention the platform you work in, the tool that you work in, or the techniques that you know, the methodology that you know, in a few bullet points, as short as possible, I think that helps. So I worked in this company for 4 years. I know Power BI. I'm just giving some examples. I know lean manufacturing. That's a soft skill. And I know, I don't know, data ingestion using something. That's more interesting for me, and it's personal again. than an accomplishment.
I think
What do you think?
no. When you talk about personal accomplishments, it kind of feels like, um, yeah. I This is again my personal opinion. And I look at when I look at resumes or CVs, I look in for what did you do that led you to learn something from whatever you have been working on. And it could be 1 year worked on this project, learned this. That is what I see as and I always wanted someone to work at least for a year on anything. It could be anything in the field of job that you're applying for. But if you have been through a journey, probably the chances of you hiring is high, because you would have definitely gone through a roller coaster, and that could have taught you something. Maybe you describe what was challenging in the role that you ended up learning or experiencing. Even those miserable fails or let's say challenges are seen as a lessons learned that you will definitely keep in mind, or um, I would say that is by far more sellable in terms of my perspective towards it. But of course, I do accept the fact that accomplishments only few could do, and that is why we call it merit. So meritorious is not for everybody. It's like 1 in a million, or one in an organization gets to take that away. That stands out from the crowd unconditionally. I don't think it is required to say that. But look at the remaining people. Majority of the people don't have anything to talk about. But then how do then they? Because if they don't have anything achieved in life, then probably they're going to be overwhelmed. Oh, should I have to have this in my CV? So I'm getting recognized in my job. No, this is what I believe.
I mean, I kind of agree and disagree with you.
Yeah. What did you disagree with?
Because I think if you work a year in a job, you cannot just summarize that year in 5 lines, Aaron. You know, whatever you write there is gonna end up in some methodology, tools, soft skills, something. And then if I'm interested in those things, I'm gonna have an interview and a proper chat with you to discover what is your accomplishment.
That makes sense. Yeah, but that has to somehow convince that I have been through a journey. But as you pointed out right now, probably like, hey, I saw your CV. You said that you have been working on this for a year and applied this and learned this. I'm curious, what did you do in that project? And probably she's going to, or he's going to explain in detail about the journey. But at some point, someone has to see that line to be able to. It should be kind of a marketing line or salesy, cheesy. I don't know how to put it.
Yeah, that's a good word. Cheesy. Sometimes it's getting too cheesy. You know, especially nowadays with everybody's going through ChatGPT, and then I can see that these lines have been written by ChatGPT, and yeah, there is no feeling in it. That's why I prefer the bullet points, short, precise, there. But that's my preferences. I mean,
And a lot of jobs in Denmark are posted through LinkedIn.
yeah.
And the line managers or the hiring managers are actually giving their contact numbers on LinkedIn to be able to contact. So what is your perspective on that? Like, is it a good strategy to actually have a chat with the line managers?
Always.
But for those people who are listening who are freaking shy about maybe vocal or in talking to people, what should they do? They are like, let's say, do I even get to call him before I apply? What is he going to think about me? There's a lot of people who are self-doubting.
Yeah, I mean, you can apply and then call, or you can call and then apply. That's
What works best?
there is
No good or wrong.
no right or wrong. But when you call a manager, personal experience, 1 out of 10 is gonna pick up the phone for the shy people, you know, because they are busy. They are in the meeting or something. The tricky things that the shy people can do. I mean, for that one call, they were unlucky. Let's just say, but for the rest of the other 9, they can just text, "Hey, this is Arun. I'm calling regarding this position. I have this question. Let's just have a call." And when the manager calls, the manager needs to start a conversation, and it's going to get easier and easier to have this dialogue. instead of you start to be proactive and start dialogue. So yeah, and then your CV or your personality or your name is gonna shine within those 100 people who apply for this position. Yeah.
So that's a good. And do these line managers get to let's say also see LinkedIn profiles? I assume that they also see LinkedIn profiles these days. But how serious are they looking in LinkedIn? There's always the printed version of a resume, a CD, and we are focusing already on building up that for the job. But then on the other hand, I have a LinkedIn that doesn't really, let's say, match one to one with the CV. For example, CVs people cater for job roles, right?
Yeah.
I remember I described the CV customized a bit for the role.
Yeah.
So LinkedIn, I don't get to choose that. It's a very static stage. Of course, I can change here and there. I can update it monthly or weekly. But when a guy who you're going to hire, you see this resume nice and relevant for the job, and then he sees for LinkedIn. What do you think, right?
You need to know that your CV needs to be impressive in 2 minutes, and when you pass that level, the LinkedIn is coming in. So that's why you personalize your CV based on the job ad. And when somebody reach out to the level that they want to invite you for an interview, they go to LinkedIn. Not all the hiring managers, and then they scan your LinkedIn, and in LinkedIn it should match what you said in your CV. So, but with more information, extensive information. So I'm not seeing any conflict here.
I assume a lot of people modify the CV a bit.
And they have to.
Yeah. But then these are two different things we're talking about, because LinkedIn doesn't really match the CV, and does it come across as what is the original you or what is the real CV?
I mean, the CV, you there's a job ad for data analyst, and the qualification that they need to have Power BI, SQL, or something. Yeah, of course there are a lot of other requirements. In your CV, on a relevant qualifications and skills, you just write bullet points. Okay, Power BI, SQL, something, and that catches the eyes of the hiring manager. Then, when the manager decided to invite you, probably going and checking your LinkedIn, click on the LinkedIn, it goes, okay, they can see that in 2024 you work like 2 years in X company, and then you have accomplishment, you have it there, and you work with these tools and so on. So
it matches more or less.
yeah. Customize the CV.
What do you mean by that?
The relevant skills and qualification. Yeah, it's really needed. Sometimes I'm seeing the CVs that about the softwares that people know. They just put something like, I don't know, they apply for a data analyst job and they put AutoCAD, random. They put Photoshop. It's not relevant for this
Those
job,
tools are not relevant for the job,
Yeah.
at least. Yeah.
And
No,
then
nice to have, but is it
it's
required
nice
to
to
have?
have, and it shadow out the other qualifications you really have.
Very key.
Yeah. So the personalization is very good. Calling is good. And then you get invited for interviews, mock interviews. Get prepared for the interviews. I've been in the interviews that the person who came didn't know the name of the company. Okay. Yeah. So, and this is the case, Aaron,
Are you serious?
No, yeah, I'm 100% serious.
So how did they apply?
I mean,
Like they applied for 10 and then they didn't realize what the
same
10th application was.
CV, just
Copy paste.
paste. Yeah,
And then add the email address, so it's sent.
Yeah.
Boom.
And that was my bad that I didn't realize it throughout the CV, or maybe the CV was so good, But yeah, do a research for the company, what they do, and be prepared. Be prepared to ask questions always, because
If I'm in an interview, I would actually be like, okay, what am I going to answer to? But what can I ask intern? Tell me something that I should ask if I'm in an interview.
You as an
interviewee.
As an interviewee. Okay.
What sort of questions can I come up with?
Brief me through the job. What is the job?
So to gain more clarity about the job.
Yeah. So, as an intern, ask about the team. Who am I going to work with? That's the easiest one. Ask about the way of working. Is it hybrid? Is it on site? Is it work from home? This is a question that you can ask. Sometimes, at least I'm asking that. Where do you see yourself in
5 years?
In 5 years.
Hmm.
Ask the same question as an interviewee. Okay, where do you see me if you hire me in not 5 years, in 6 months, in 1 year, in 2 years? These are the questions. These are the general questions. But then again, if you go through a job ad, there might be some question that comes up. Okay, you requested that you need this qualification. I'm not 100% have this qualification, but I have 30%. How can I improve myself to become 70%? And how does the company support me to develop?
But that comes with a lot of preparation because, of course, the candidate has to prepare on what are the things that he or she would like to know more about, because it's also an investment from the candidate and not just the hiring manager or the company. But that's a good perspective. I've never ever asked any questions so far in any interviews, probably because I was either skeptical or not been in the on the side of someone who's with authority or But that's great discussions we had with. So I think takeaway message for me and also audiences listening. Catering the first half of the resume is very important. First half, top half, you meant, and then without pictures is easy. And then try to text people if they have the contact information, which I recollected well. And then also list accomplishments and then explain as short as possible. So it could be explainable in a one-to-one interview. And also, what else did we discuss? I think that was more or less the same.
Be prepared for the interviews. Interview is not that you are just go there. You need to get prepared for all type of questions. There are some standard questions. Do you have a conflict with your old colleagues? That's a question that typically they ask, Have an answer, don't freestyle there, because if you freestyle, you're probably gonna. Yeah.
So preparation is king.
Preparing is king because you're gonna use this knowledge that you gain by preparation for all the interviews that you're going.
Some people do prepare, but I think from your perspective, I realize what to prepare and how to prepare. That's the key. Like preparation for me is like I'm really ready, but I don't know what the right preparation is. Looking from you and hearing from you, I think asking questions is a sort of a preparation. What is that I lack in the organization that I could ask my interviewer?
Mock interviews as well is something else.
Mock interviews.
Yeah.
Do you believe in mock interviews?
Yeah, pretty much.
What is mock interview?
Mock interviews. There are some. If you search internet, there are like a list of questions that a hiring manager is gonna ask. Go through it, and then try to answer it yourself. And then having this mock interview with one of your friends who is already hired, or is in the process of hiring, or have some knowledge, because they've probably been through this. And then your answers to those questions are gonna get changed when you are talking with different people. So try to bring up the answer that you gave, and then try to refine it. And having these mock interviews. Okay, how to answer this question?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much for giving some enlightenment to candidates applying for universities or job in Denmark. That brings us to end of this session. I guess we have covered a lot of topics from your personal journey towards educating expats bringing some awareness to people who are willing to move to Denmark, and also challenges that they might have to embark. And most importantly, how to finance when they're in student loans, and also some mag. I think people watching or listening this podcast will definitely get some value for the time being spent. And thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's a pleasure again. And let's meet some point in the future. Thank you so much for now.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah.
And nice question, of course. That's a short podcast to tell my whole life. But again, if you have a goal, you need to do something to work about it. And I recommend everybody to set a goal and then go to the futureme.org and write a letter to your future yourself.
Okay.
And then when at the certain time, when you put a timer, that emails come back to you with your own letter. And you'll see what was your goals 6 months ago, 1 year ago, 3 years ago. And if you achieve those goals, well done. If you are not, take a time to reflect what you didn't do or what went wrong that you didn't achieve that goal. And then fight for your goals. Thank you.
Thank you. That was bliss. So it's futureme.org.
Correct.
Thank you guys for listening so far. I think it has been an amazing journey so far with interviewing a lot of people. Today we had Mosi. The next podcast will feature a lot of expats similar to one. And if you haven't subscribed for this, please subscribe. It makes my life easier and also motivate me to make more contents of similar kind. And wishing you good luck and have a nice evening or a nice day wherever you are, whatever part of the world you're listening from. Thank you for tuning in to Arun in Denmark podcast. Your support helps me bring more stories and insights to this wonderful international community in Denmark. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and follow for more inspiring stories. Until then, take care.